All right, welcome back to another key for this season. This time it is a 23 Skyreach that my team and I painfully completed. In my opinion, I think this is definitely one of the most difficult keys of the season compared to Algathar. I think this key has a lot more variance and a lot more complicated pulls in terms, at least from a healer's point of view. All right, first pull here, it's a pretty standard Fizz comp pull. You have two big mobs here. One is the Raven, and then one is the Blade Talon. And the overlap you're looking for, if your tank pulls right, should be no overlap. You don't ever want the Blade Talon bleed to go out at the same time the Dread Raven is doing the big AoE screech. Right? And your main job here as a healer is to just make sure everyone is topped off at all times before any damage event, which is pretty easy with Lust. You can see here I haven't committed my Healing Tide or my Link, which is important because you want it for the next pull. If you do find yourself a little worried, you can use your Healing Tide, but try to hold your Link for this pull coming up here. So in this pull, we got three Squalls, I believe. Three Squalls, a Raven, and a Chakra Master. So this pull is also very dangerous too. You can have a lot of overlaps. So you can have the Screech here. Plus, the Chakra Masters can also throw out chakras at you guys. And for the first one, you can see I end up using my Healing Tide for it. Because what you don't want to happen is you don't want people to be low from the Screech. And then the Chakra Master throws out one of their abilities and people die from it. Here you can see the Squalls are about to die. And when they reach 30% HP, they start pulsating AoE damage. And this is where, for us, we commit Rally, Heart of the Wild, and Link. Because we don't have a Soothe, or we have Soothe, but it's very difficult to get the Soothe off during this phase. We just use my Link, and that kind of carries us into the Screech. My Link was a little bit early. You can see I only got one tick of the Screech, but really the Link is there to keep us healthy going into the Screech. So keep that in mind. Make sure everyone is very healthy before the Screech comes out. And the damage that's going to drop you low before that is going to be the Squalls and the Chakra Masters. Alright, this pull is very straightforward. There's really nothing else going for you here. You have one Squall and the Blade Talon. To heal the Blade Talon, it goes on 3 players. One of them could be the tank. And you typically want to do is you want to save up some of your Earth Living weapon. And if you have Ancestral Swiftness, you can use that too. All right, but I'm just single target healing less here. This is definitely a case where your DPS would have you use defensives. Okay, this boss. It is a high APM boss, but it's not complicated. Basically, your only job here is to heal this bleed. That's it. And for Resto Shaman, this is very easy to heal. The main points of this fight is that in between these bleeds, you can fish for your Stormstream totem. And you can always make sure you have your Surgeon totem down too for it. So you can see here, what I'm doing is I'm holding on to my Earth Living weapon. Because I know that there's going to be bleeds coming out. And you always want to have the Earth Living buff going into this phase. Because it's still pretty easy to get cast off, but you might miss a cast here and there. So the extra 15% healing helps a lot. Right, same thing, you can see I drop it, but I don't proc it. And then I wait till this come out, and then I proc it. The other mechanic is the single target knockback. I think for most Fizz comp classes, they can pretty much survive it. Just make sure you have your Ancestral Vigor on them. Here you can see I put a Riptide on my Warrior so they can all take the hit. If the class can't survive it, then they can just LOS it too. Okay. This pull is pretty easy for you. There's not much you can do, not much for you to do. You can drop totems to help your tank kite, and you can CC them as well. Your main priority here is to get these purges off too.
I'm not going to touch that.
No stun totem. No stun totem? Okay. I communicate to my tank that I use my stun totem early.
I kick got fucked. Someone kick star. I kick.
So it's these priestess that puts out these shields. So these shields, if you're not sure what they do, basically, as long as the shields are active, they pulsate damage. And it can go on 2 mobs at once. So each priestess can put out 2 shields. You have 2 priestess, 4 shields. You have 4 shields is a lot of damage going out. So you want to make sure you purge them ASAP. Alright. So now we'll come up to the triple golem pull. Now this pull, I'm not going to comment on how to pull it, because I know, right now there circulates a glitch or some sort of bug you can do with the golems. But for our team, we decided to not play it like that and just do it natty. And basically, these golems, they can go on anyone. And how I play this fight is, if I don't have Stormstream totems and I don't have Earth Living Weapon, or if I don't have my Earth Weapon, then I will send a cooldown. That cooldown being Healing Tide or Spirit Link or my own defensives.
I kicked as well.
For our comp specifically, there's a couple of factors. So you can see here, I use my Healing Tide for it when it went on me, and then it goes on my Druid too. For our comp here, we basically we have our Warrior and we have our Druid who can deal with it. Our Druid can meld, and our Warrior can spell Reflect and also meld too.
No reflect.
The biggest thing you want to watch for is, at least your team want to watch for, is overlaps. These golems, they can both pick one person, or one person can get multiple golems on them, and that's when usually people die. You can see here, I use the link because I'm absolutely out of everything here. Right, he's getting it. I'm about to get it. Right, I don't have Stormstream. I don't have Healing Tide. I don't have Defensive. I have Pot, but I don't think Pot is enough. At this key level, these things are hitting you for pretty much 60% of your health. So 2 ticks, you're dead.
Lost.
Okay, this fight, there's a strat that we do where we have our Pharaoh run behind all of us, and they help take care of a tick of beam. So you can see here, the damage that we're taking is not as high as it would be if everyone just stood still. But if everyone did stand still, this fight will be incredibly difficult to heal. In terms of the cadence of this fight, you have 2 phases pretty much. Each phase, you will get 2 rounds of these beam, followed by this big knock. And on the second round of this beam, the robot follows up with a big AoE slam. And what you want to do for the slam, number 1, is you want to make sure everyone knows what they need to live it. For Phase Comp, usually you should have no problem. You put Essential Vigor on everyone and they should live a natty. So you don't need a defensive for that. So what that means is that people are going to use defensive for soaking the beams. So you can see right here. Oh, sorry, that was the first one.
I'll take over Drake.
Alright, so here we're communicating who's soaking what beam. You see the Druid is behind me. In terms of your cooldown as the healer in this fight, you want to save a bit more cooldown for the beams that's followed up with the slam. So which is this one here. Okay, so we'll do this again. So you can see this is the second one of the intermission. We know that it's a supernova, which is the big knock I was talking about. And we're always going to soak beam right before it. So what that means is that you can usually use the cooldown here, which I end up using Healing Tide. And the logic is that you want to use a cooldown to keep everyone's HP up higher so that no one is, say, below 90% or whatnot. Because you can see our warrior drops all the way down to 15 the knock. But that's pretty much it. This fight is very straightforward. Save your storm streams for when you're soaking beams. You as a shaman can probably soak every single one because you are quite tanky, and your healing wave is much more effective on yourself versus healing other people. But that's it, really.
Go, go, go.
One good tip too for the fight previously is to make sure you switch your earth shield off your tank onto a DPS or onto the squishiest person. In that case, it was our paladin for that fight specifically. You can see here, I'm about to switch my earth shield onto the druid, because for this fight, the druid is the weakest. All right, you can see here, it goes onto the druid. Okay, this fight, it's pretty much similar to the first boss. You have rounds of rot damage going out. And common pattern for Resto Shaman, you want to save your Stormstream totems because that's going to do the majority of your healing for this area here. One tip you can do is you can start pre-casting your chain heal onto your party members before the cast comes out.
We're trying to kill this one, like.
See here, we're about to get the ad. You have Earth Living Weapon for every single ad here from your Surgeon Totem. So you want to try to line that up as well. Each phase of this boss is followed by 2 ads. One that you fight out in the open, and then the other one is when you guys have to hide behind a pillar. And the one where you guys have to hide behind the pillar is the one I typically use cooldowns for, because there's movement and people are not leeching off the boss as much, right? So there's just less healing going out. So here I use my Healing Tide, and I ask my paladin to sack me here too. In a Viscom, you as a healer will always be the one that's fixated by the ad because it only targets range. What you can communicate to your team to do is to CC the ads when it comes out on the first set. So here you can see we have a Hodge on it. This way you don't have to worry about moving, and the ad actually does a good amount of damage. And aside from its pulsing damage, it does auto attacks, and when they auto you, it really makes it difficult. So you want to make sure your tank, if you're playing with Brewmaster, they can put Rob for every single ad. You can see once again the hiding phase. I end up using my Spirit Link and my Astral Shift because I was mispositioned. All right, once again, your Druid is probably the weakest party member in this fight in terms of healing wise. So you want to make sure most of your chain heal are targeted at him. If you're not sure about this skip, you as the
Hey, see you later, donkey.
shaman can Gust of Wind up here. Okay.
I'm kicking this. You don't gotta worry about it.
Our tanker is gonna pull that and Transcendence to us.
No, it didn't work. Wait, did it?
Oh, I cast it.
This pull is deceivingly dangerous if your team does not take care of the mobs. So what I mean by that is we have one priestess here who's going to put out 2 shields. We have 2 squalls, which are going to enrage and do AoE damage when they get low. Okay. And it can get out of hand very quickly if you're not on top of purging and soothing them. Before all that happens, the only person taking damage is your tank. So you can make sure you just spam heals into him to keep him alive during it. But after that, so right now you can see squalls are enraged. A lot of damage is coming out. And now you can see the shields come out. So right now we have the enraged squalls and we have the shield. And this is probably the most dangerous time in the fight. You can see our paladin almost dies there. It's difficult for you because you have to choose between purging the shield from the priestess or healing. Very good. Our tank transcendence to me, but I was trying to kill him. And then you can also purge these warriors too. The purge on the warrior removes a haste buff on them, which makes your tank life a little bit easier too. This pull here, our tank will get the Blade Talon, and we end up playing this together. This pull is a little bit more chill, but really it's not. You have 2 Chakra Masters, so remember they do the Chakra Ricochet, which does damage to everyone in the group. You got the Priestess, which puts out the shield. Okay, so you want to make sure you get that purge ASAP if you can. And then you have the Blade Talon. So this pull is just as dangerous before.
I never turned.
Our warrior there intervenes the. So we have a plan here for our warrior to intervene the tank when he presses die by the sword, because he gets it for the first bleed. But I don't think he did that for that one. I don't think he ended up pressing die by the sword, and he just ends up dying from it.
I'm on another mark. I'm on another mom. You. On you. What the f?
Alright.
We got okay, who's this on? You. On you. I'm helping you.
I'm good. Let's go. I'm good.
Okay. First hit. No. Oh.
We have kick sorted or no?
And then I'll hodge? Yes. And then Doctor next. I sack Will. Yeah.
Oh, this pull here, I realize now looking back on it, this is a panic Spirit Link. No, this is the 3rd time I've been targeted by this construct.
I kicked. Vortex? The orb.
And I definitely had to deal with it. Our paladin here. Okay, so this pull is so before we get this, so this pull we have the elemental, okay, we have the construct, and we have the raven. 3 big prior mobs. 2 of them are dangerous, but we can't hit any of the 2 dangerous ones. We have to hit the elemental. All right. So the overlap here is the construct picking somebody to beam on, and then the raven either doing the big screech that does damage to everyone, or the knockback on a single player. Any of those 2 combinations will kill whoever the beam is on. So you can see now the beam goes on our paladin, and then the raven screech comes out. I should have had my Spirit Link here, but I used it poorly earlier in this fight, and I don't have it. But thankfully it went on our paladin because he ends up bubbling. You have time to bubble. If it goes on your druid or it goes on your warrior, you either spell reflect the shield or the beam, or you melt it. It's just not livable. I don't even think with defensive you can live it, to be honest. Melt. That one, why was that one so difficult too? Yeah, see, I wasn't prepared for it. So you can see here, right? The construct is about to cast on my druid, and I should have already began pre-casting my healing wave on him, but I didn't, and he almost gets 2-ticked by it. And he gets 3 ticked by it. Oh, he got 1 heal. Or he almost got 2 ticked. So, you know, this beam is definitely very dangerous.
Okay. Yep, and then I can hog. I don't have this.
Yeah, here I die on this one. I think I should have used the defensive looking back on it, but I wasn't prepared for the construct to go on me. And this is like I said before, I died because of the overlap. The beam plus the screech from the Raven.
I don't have this.
I ended up using my defensive, but I used it way too late.
Oh, sorry.
Yep. And that's pretty much the pull. Right, this boss here, definitely one of the harder fight of the season for a healer. You can see who these beams go on, and in terms of healing through it, you have, like always, a mix of your healing tide, your storm stream, and your spirit link, and your defensives. One tip here is that if you get picked by the bird right here, there's a macro you can do that drops your capacitor totem on your player, and for some reason that drops you from the bird. Okay. In terms of healing this fight, it's very important that you do not overlap your cooldowns with your teammates' defensive. And in a pug, that's a little bit difficult to do, but if you're doing keys, I think above 21, it helps to be in, especially if you're doing 22s and 23s. Being in Discord or comms with your group helps a lot, because the party members that this mechanic picks is random. It can go on the tank, it can go on 3 DPS, it can go on you and 2 DPS, it can go on you, tank, and a DPS. So it's hard to say it's hard to prepare for it. And what that means is that each round of mechanic comes out, it's different each time. So in terms of what's difficult to heal, all right, if it goes on you and 2 other, or let's put it this way, the easiest one to heal if the beam goes on the tank, you, and 1 DPS, because you don't have to heal the tank, and so you just heal yourself, which is always easier to heal another player, and you heal one other player. The second hardest is 1 goes on you and 2 goes on your DPS. That's when you want to start using the cooldowns to heal through that. And the hardest one is when it goes on 3 DPS. That's when you definitely want to use one of your big cooldowns, or you call for defensives from your group. We'll take a look at an example coming up here. Okay, this one goes on my tank and 2 DPS, and you can see here he ends up bubbling and he gets sacked, so I don't use much there. 1 goes on me. Yeah, I don't use too much because the tank, like I said, is not a worry, so you're pretty much just healing 2 people. This one goes on my warrior, but I just defensive myself, and that makes it a 1-person heal, right? So remember, because again, you don't have to worry about the tank. You just heal 1 person because I defensive, and I don't have to heal myself for this mechanic.
He's gonna die. Go berserk over here.
Next debuffs are coming out. Right, same one, just on the warrior now, same thing. I use my healing type because I don't have a defensive, and I didn't really have that many totems saved up. I only had 1 nature swiftness proc, and that was it. Yep. This is where you can see this is a hard set. I don't have any cooldowns at all. I think I potted for this one. Did I? Oh, no, I didn't pot for this one. I communicate to my team that, you know, I didn't have much for this set here. So you can see my warrior used that by the sword. My paladin uses defensive, and that means I can just heal myself. Right? You can see? everybody defensive, and I just heal myself. I think I put almost 3 globals into myself.
Send boss, send boss, send boss.
Awesome heart in 2, 1, hearted.
There, my druid say he used Heart of the Wild. That set was okay. It wasn't too bad, but the Heart of the Wild pretty much carried that one. That's pretty much the fight. You can see here, it's incredibly difficult fight to heal. If you're not in comms and you overlap defensives, it's kind of GG. All right. Anyways, that's the run. Thank you guys for watching.